The ancient city is calling. Oh, arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored and our time to serve is now. The glory of the Unuedo nation will forever be upright. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land of the stream to be. Our treasures are found in our nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written. Our kings have endured all times. A people cultured in unity, our hearts beat for the land. Rich culture, stories of heroes, legacies forever be. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land of the stream to be. Unite and stand with each other, therein lies a future great. Together we can stand, come what may. Edo future lies in us. Teach our children to teach their children what our fathers taught. To love and fear the Creator, only then shall we be great. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land of the stream to be. is calling. Oh, arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the Unuedo nation will forever be upright. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land of the street. Our treasures are found in our nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written. Our kings have endured all times. A people cultured in unity. Our hearts beat for the land. Rich culture, stories of heroes, legacies forever be. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land of the street to be. Unite and stand with each other. Therein lies a future great. Together we can stand, come what may. Edo future lies in us. Teach our children to teach their children what our fathers taught. To love and fear the Creator. Only then shall we be great. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land of the street to be. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the Unuedo nation will forever be upright. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land of the street to be. Our treasures are found in our nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written. Our kings have endured all times. A people cultured in unity. singing over you. You're the lamp on the street to be. Unite and stand with each other. Therein lies a future great. Together we can stand, come what may. The ancient city is calling. Oh, arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the Unuedo nation will forever be upright. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the lamp of the street to me. Our treasures are found in all nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written. Our kings have endured all times. A people cultured in unity. Our hearts beat for the land. Rich culture, stories of heroes, legacies forever be. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the lamp on the street to be. Unite and stand with each other. Therein lies a future great. Together we can stand, come what may. Edo future lies in us. Teach our children to teach their children what our fathers taught. To love and fear the Creator. Only then shall we be great. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the lamp ancient city is calling. Oh, arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the Unuedo nation will forever be upright. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land of the stream to me. Our treasures are found in our nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written. Our kings have endured all times. A people cultured in unity, our hearts beat for the land. Rich culture, stories of heroes, legacies forever be. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land of the stream to be. Unite and stand with each other. Therein lies a future great. Together we can stand, come what may. Edo future lies in us. Teach our children to teach their children what our fathers taught. To love and fear the Creator. Only then shall we be great. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land of the stream to be.
There will be ample time for interaction after the event. Just from the HSC perspective, speaking to the hotel, there is no drill planned today. If the fire alarm goes out, there are two main exits out of this place. The same way you came in, all the way going out to the car park in front. The alternate one is behind the gentleman in orange. There's a side door there that takes you again to the front of the facility. There are enough first responders in the hotel, fire and medical. So if there's a need for any one of those, which we don't pray for, there will be people to support with that. Please just indicate. For those that may need to use the restrooms, it's out the door to the left, and then to the left again. You find the ladies and the gents down there.
You are the Alpha, you are the Omega. You are the beginning, you are the ending. You are the one that knows the end from the beginning and the beginning from the end. We commit all the activities of the day into your hands in the mighty name of Jesus. We commit our country, Nigeria, into your hands. We pray there is peace all around in Jesus' name. We commit our next states, Edo states, into your hands. Let there be safety. Let there be prosperity. In the mighty name of Jesus. We commit all the candidates that have made up their minds to serve our Edo states. We pray that we divinely protect them in Jesus' name. As they crisscross our entire state, there will be no kidnapping. There will be no accidents.
Amen.
There will be no good report. In the mighty name of Jesus. For all the Unuedo members that put this together, the other people to give the wisdom and understanding to be able to move the state forward. And I will pray that you give wisdom to all the contestants, that at the end of the day, there will be no one. And as God has they will come together again and say, Lord, to be to move the state forward. So shall it be in the word of Father.
Shall
next item is to welcome VIPs. And I'm like, I'm going to call everybody in this room now, right? So what is important for me personally is every single person in this room has one focus, which is the progress of Edo State, the betterment of the Edo State citizens, and of course the progress of Nigeria. So I thank everyone for coming in here. Every single one of you is a very important person with one PVC, right? Very important person with one PVC which you need to use, right? So I welcome in particular the gubernatorial candidates for the Labour Party, Mr. Olumide Akpata. Of the PDP gubernatorial candidate, Mr. Aswad. And I also welcome the representatives for the APC joining us. Sorry? I can't be sure of anything. You don't know which party I'm with now. Right? So we welcome them all the same. We also welcome the representative or the gubernatorial candidates under the ADC party, Mr. Derek Unuedo. So thank you all very much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to come here to speak to persons that have vested interest, either by birth or by choice, for Edo State, right? And the president of Unuedo Renaissance will go a little bit more into the brief, but I'll go brief on why we have this, why we're having this event. But I'll go very top level. The event is originally scheduled for 2 hours, plus a 60-minute time for interaction, and that's why I said let's wait till the end of the enough time to do all the high fives and also to confer with the candidates directly. So there will be an opening remark by the Unuedo president, then session discussions with the candidates, a question and answer session with the audience, and if we can squeeze it, we'll take some online questions also. We're zooming on, we're streaming on YouTube at least, and maybe one other platform right now. So for those candidates, supporters, and indeed Edo State citizens that are interested in following this.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this Unuedo Town Hall interactive meeting for the frontline political parties candidates for the forthcoming Edo State gubernatorial elections. Without further ado, I would like to extend my warm welcome to our distinguished gubernatorial candidates, esteemed members of Unuedo Renaissance, members of the press, and all stakeholders present here today. Your presence at this crucial gathering underscores your commitment to the progress and development of Edo State. As we delve into the critical issues facing our beloved state and explore the pathways to sustainable socio-economic development, I urge all participants to engage in constructive dialogue, share innovative ideas, and demonstrate a spirit of collaboration and unity. Together, respect and adherence to democratic principles. Today's meeting is organized by Unuedo Renaissance, an association of professionals of Edo State extraction, to draw our attention to critical issues and challenges, identify our strengths and weaknesses, and espouse ideas with the overall aim of arriving at elite consensus about what may be the best sustainably workable solutions roadmap, which will be well captured and presented as resolutions after today's event by our able rapporteurs. Today's talking points would include strategies for accelerated socio-economic development of Edo State for the well-being of the generality of its residents, policies and measures to encourage businesses, improve ease of doing business, and further improve FDIs to deepen and expand development of value ag processing, cottage industries, taking due advantage of our rich human capital and mineral agro raw materials endowments. We will examine the candidates' perspectives around promotion of right ethics and values as an enabler for sustainable development. We will address matters arising from ongoing electoral campaigns leading to the forthcoming elections and extract commitments from the candidates to promote issues-based campaign and transparent conduct of free and fair elections, not only to the pride of every Edo son and daughter, but for emulation of other states across Nigeria. We are already very lucky as a state to parade such distinguished and accomplished gentlemen in their respective rights as frontline aspirants who understand too well not to encourage activities that will further divide us and create chaotic situations such that will make it difficult for the eventual winner to effectively govern a state that is already in dire need. As they say in our local parlance, who they cry the sea road. All these and many more would form the talking points for today's meeting, and to help us in moderating the discussions and carefully navigate the complex weave of issues is none other than the fine gentleman, Dr. Franklin Unuedo, an Associate Professor of Development Economics at the Lagos Business School. He's been carefully selected as today's discussion moderator owing to his depth of knowledge and abilities to interrogate, fine-tune, and sharpen ideas and thoughts. Our rapporteurs for today's event are two distinguished public affairs analysts and socio-political scholars, Chief Agbeze Ikireke Kalu Onuma and Mr. Emmanuel Ajibulu. You may also give them a round of applause. They are all not indigenous to Edo State, so as to allay any fears of bias. Let me once again thank the aspirants here present for making out time from their very busy electoral campaign activities to attend this August gathering. It's testament to the love and respect they hold dear for Edo State and its people, and nonetheless, Unuedo Renaissance, the organizers of this town hall interactive meeting. Mr. Alumidi Akpata, who for circumstances beyond their control, are unable to join us today. Finally, may I express gratitude to my executive committee and co-opted members of the event planning committee. And in no particular order, they are Mrs. Sarah Esangbedo Ajose Adiogun. Can you please give a round of applause and thank for the committee? Mr. Nelson Toyo Ulbat, can you stand up for recognition? Dr. Mrs. Loretta Boroko, I think she's joining us virtually from the UK. Mr. Kingsley Gowian, I think he's somewhere. Yes, thank you. Pastor Isaac Obede, Mr. Felix Espinosa, Dr. Sam Laikere, Chief Edobo Ozakolo, Mr. Elder Sonny Rabo, please, let's see. Mr. Austin Obekozian, Mr. Momo Jima Yarekwa, and on the list, Mr. Roman Osegali. I only want to appreciate our numerous sponsors whose financial contributions and valuable time and effort have in no small measure been instrumental to making this event a reality. For the record, this event is fully funded by your contributions, completely independent of any support from the aspirants, so as to maintain neutrality and independence for what will be the outcome of today's interactions. In closing, I want to express my gratitude to Unuedo Renaissance for his dedication to promoting excellence and progress in our state through social impact projects, including the recent launching of the Unuedo handbooks on ethics and values orientation, value-add processing for cottage industries, citizens' rights and obligations for free distribution across the state in schools, markets, and public places. You can pick a few copies on display at the guest registration, and we solicit your support to adopt communities around you, our schools around you, and sponsor production of more copies for free distribution. We appreciate your moderator, rapporteurs, and guest speakers, including Ambassador Joe Keshi of DG and the Grace Commission, for graciously accepting their roles as assigned for today's discussions. I look forward to a productive and enlightening exchange of ideas, and I'm confident that together we can pave the way for a brighter tomorrow for Edo State. May I now invite Mr. Roman Nsagele.
Good morning. The President, Unuedo Renaissance, Mr. Nur Yakubu, the PDP governorship candidate, Mr. Aswad Kudali, the APC representatives, and the APC governorship candidate, Mr. Monday Okwebolo, I think he's not here, and the Labour Party governorship candidate, Mr. Olumide Akpata. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the August gathering of Edo State indigents. Our main goal is to see the progress of the state, of which are aligned with our goals and objectives. But today, Nigeria, as we know it, is at a crossroad in terms of its economy, which have also posed challenges in leadership, insecurity, mass migration, etc. One of these three candidates, earlier mentioned, will eventually become the governor of Edo State. It is imperative we know where we are in terms of the economy and to know what solutions they intend to provide. While we've had GDP growth, GDP per capita growth, we've returned kids back to school and reduced the number of out-of-school children. There's still plenty to be done. The ultimate goal is to drive the economy of Edo State towards self-reliance. So I'm just going to be looking at the Nigerian perspective and how it affects the states in general. Please, can we put up the slides, please? I'd like you to go to number 2, please. Number 2. As we know, today, what we're experiencing in the economy is as a result of our monolithic economy, the end of the oil boom era of 2013, which started from 2004 and ended in 2013. In the 70s, we enjoyed an oil boom, which ended in 1981. And by 1981, 82, 83, we had recorded $13.95 billion in trade deficits. Nigeria was to suffer these economic challenges for about 23 years before the economy started picking up again in 2004. Between 2004 and 2013, Nigeria will again record trade surpluses, which actually helped increase our GDP growth, increase the value of our economy when we rebased. But that dream also ended in 2013 with the end of the boom, with the end of the oil boom. By 2014 to date, Nigeria has been recording trade deficits, and the combined trade deficit for 2014 to 2022 has accumulated, no, 2023 rather, has accumulated to $137.334 billion. Now, this is the factor that has caused majorly the chaos that we're experiencing today in the economy. Now, so what are the implications of this? Between 2014 and now, trade deficit has increased by 861%. And as trade deficits increase, Nigeria needs to borrow more. So we borrowed from, our debt profile has increased from 64 trillion in 2014 to about 114 trillion in 2023. That has also put a lot of strains on the center. Now, inflation has also increased from 8.5% in 2013 to 34.2% in 2024. So which means that some states are actually getting more money, but the value of what they are getting is less, because they are not able to utilize the same amount for what they were paid for maybe 10 years ago. Now, we look at the sustainability of the states, and we want to look at Edo State. I want you to go to slide 6, please. Slide 6. 6. So we look at the sustainability of the state. FAC, for instance, has increased by 148%. That's not slide 6, please. Slide 6. Good. FAC has increased from by 148% from 2013 to 2023. But at the same time, IGR has also increased by 229.8%. That's an increase of 43.2 billion from what it was, 18.8 billion in 2013 to 62 billion in 2023. But the worrisome part comes as in which spread across all states in Nigeria. Next slide, please. Which spread across all states in Nigeria. We look at the sustainability of states, and we found out that the dependency on the center is so huge that we are now looking at a situation whereby if the center cannot hold, how does the state survive? So, the fact dependency of states, some even have a dependency of about 90%, 80%, 85%, but that of those states is 71.8%, which makes it very worrisome. If by tomorrow the federal government says, oh, we are not able to keep up with the monthly allocation, so where do we find ourselves? We need to build towards self-reliance. Our debt, next slide please. Our debt is also one thing that we need to look at. Between 2013, or from 2013 till date, Edo State debt with the current exchange rate has ballooned. Now, I must let you know this, that this debt were accumulated right from the 90s. But the major disadvantage of the debt is that most of the states that are holding the majority of their debt in USD, and because of the devaluation of the Naira, the debt has continued to balloon out of reach. So how do we keep up with the debt, and how are we able to service our debt if the center cannot hold? We must build towards self-reliance. So as of today, or at the end of 2023, Edo State debt, using the new exchange rate, will have ballooned to over 600 billion, which places Edo State as the third most indebted state in Nigeria. And debt service as a percentage of revenue, next slide please. We looked at the debt service as a percentage of revenue, and we took the average across the 36 states of Nigeria and found out that the average was 19.33% of revenue. But that of Edo State is 19.85%, which is a little bit above the national average for states. So we want to see how we can become self-reliant, build on our internal strength, the human capital, the cottage industry, bring in foreign direct investment, leverage on the advantage of the state, that we can build a sustainable economy and become self-reliant. The center is crumbling. Next slide, please. On 2024 budget, oil price was pegged at 78. The reality today is at $84. And the daily output of production was pegged at 1.78 million barrels per day. But between January and now, the average that Nigeria has had is 1.34 every month. The exchange rate was pegged at 750 naira, but we're seeing an exchange rate of 1,600 today. And target inflation was 21.4%. Today it's 34.2%. How do we mitigate against, or from these, the populations of those countries, they are nowhere near that of Nigeria. For a country the size of Nigeria, we need to be turning out nothing less than between 5 to 6 million barrels per day to be able to be sustainable. But we are not able to. And I don't see that happening in the next maybe 5-10 years. So how do we steer the economy of the states outside crude oil? That is what we want the governorship aspirants to tell us today, how we're going to make Edo State self-reliant, increase our IGR. IGR is good. It's at 62 billion now. The present administration has made progress. The state is making progress. But we need it to jump to over $100 to $150 billion. And how do we do that? We can only do that by developing our strengths. Oh, sorry, Naira. If dollars, then better, right? Magic do happen when you work hard. We could make it 150 billion in dollars someday, but we need to work hard. We have the resources, we have the human capital. If we combine the human capital and the mineral resources, then we are home driven. We will get to our goal. But the aspirants need to come up and tell us their plans and how they're going to do it. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you, Mr. Roman Osagale. Can I crave the indulgence? This is not a wedding party. Can I crave the indulgence of everyone to please mute their phones? It's a little bit disrespectful to the other persons that are putting their time out to be here for this very important event.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, and good morning, our future or potential excellencies. Let me start by saying that last year Christmas, when I was going to the East, we got to Benin late, and we slept in Benin, and we slept in University of Benin. I am sure that this Christmas, as we are going, we might likely get to Benin late again, but I want to sleep in the government house. And I am sure that one of the two candidates we have today will emerge, or three candidates we have today will emerge as the governor of Edo State. So please, once you get into the government house, leave a note that by December, once I come in, I'll go straight to the guest house and have sleep that day. So thank you very much for coming. As you all know, we have Mr. Olubide Akpata and Mr. Aswe Godalo.
of Labour Party and PDP respectively. There are some people you don't send their profiles because their profiles are already public knowledge. So, but for purposes of introduction, I will just say a few words with regards to who they are, because I believe that I'm not sure there is anybody in Nigeria that reads newspaper, that has a smartphone, or that listens to the news, that might not have heard about Olumide or Asu. They are well known in Nigeria. But as you know, Olumide Akwasa is a Nigerian. He's also, from my last check, is from Edo State. From my last check as well, he's a lawyer. From my last check as well, he's running to be the governor of Edo State. And he's doing that under Labour Party. As we all know, he was the immediate past president of Nigerian Bar Association. He's a very prominent lawyer. He's a leading partner of Templars, one of the top law firms in Nigeria, among many other things. He's on board of several organizations. He's been serving Nigeria, he's been serving Edo State, he's been serving humanity in different forms. So let me use the opportunity to welcome Mr. Olumide Akwasa. The second candidate we have today, Mr. Asue Igodalo, is also well known. He's been everything. I remember somebody was asking me, say, how does the man have time to be? And the man is very rich. I say, why? He said he's on several boards. He's the chairman of Sterling Bank, chairman of this one, chairman of this one, chairman of this one. And I saw him playing golf. How does he have time to play golf again? And of course, you guys, we all know that he's a leading and Mr. Asue Igodalo, you're highly welcome. So as the MC told us, this is going to be an interactive session. So I will, first of all, call each of the candidates to come and tell us in a brief few minutes, why they want to govern Edo State. I remember, if I'm correct, that Edo State is the heartbeat of Nigeria. Is that correct? So we want that heartbeat to come back, because if you look at Nigeria, it seems that the heartbeat is going down and it's dying. But we want, of course, that means that once Edo State starts beating again, Nigeria will start beating again. And when we heard the statistics about Nigeria, I have a good news. Very soon, Nigeria unemployment will be below 10%. Inflation will be below 10%. Food security will be achieved. We will be exporting to different African countries. Exchange rates will be highly moderated. Insecurity will go down. Agriculture will be one of the mainstays of the economy. Can someone shout hallelujah and amen? But this can only be achieved when the heartbeat of the nation takes a lead, and that is Edo State. So we want to know how they will help us to make sure that Nigeria becomes the giant of Africa again. I was in a session outside Nigeria in one African country, and they were discussing about Nigeria, and they told us that Africa is about 1.4 billion people. So if we had investors, and they said that if they remove 200 million people, they still have about 1.2 billion consumers. It means that the global economy, the African countries can actually afford to start ignoring Nigeria. But they say that they are still looking up to Nigeria to show the lead, to take their preeminent position in Nigeria. And we believe that the heartbeat of the nation should take that lead. So on that note, let me invite Mr. Olumide Akwasa up to the stage. Let me also invite Mr. Asue Igodalo up to the stage. Can we give them a round of applause? So thank you again, Your Excellencies. As I said, this is just in a few months. One of them will become Your Excellency, the Governor of Edo State. So let me start with Olumide Akpata. You've heard about Nigeria. You've gone around Edo State. You want to be the Governor of Edo State. I remember in 1992 election, I remember that there was a meeting of NRC heavyweights. And one of them came out in the night and said he wanted to go home. But he was scared that the state was not very safe. And one of the leading politicians told him that he should go, that the state is safe. And he called me and he said, I was working in protocol. He said that this man is of strategic importance to the political development and economic development of Nigeria. So, Olumide, why do you want to be the governor of the capital of the nation? Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Can you hear me?
Thank you. I'm not sure if this DJ balance. Thank you, Prof. Thank you for this opportunity. I must thank Unuedo Renaissance for this opportunity. Wadomo, Wakuyo, Wamo, Waese, and as many of the salutations that I can muster. Having traveled around the state at least 4 times in the last 1 year. Edo is indeed the heartbeat of Nigeria. Edo is the mini Nigeria. Did I forget Bakara to my Asian brothers and sisters? But yeah, as I've already been introduced, but let me just not take it for granted that everybody heard. I am Olumide Osaibovo Akpata. I'm a Benin man. Both my parents are Benin. Well, my mother was Benin. She's of blessed memory. I'm a Benin man. Unuedo, as we say in Benin, Unuedo Pataki. And I am proudly Edo. And so, as has been mentioned, I'm a well-known lawyer. As has been mentioned, I have been successful in legal practice, at least in the estimation of others. I even went as far as being president of the Nigerian Bar Association, immediate past. Prof, we've had another election now, so I'm not, very soon I won't be immediate past, I will now be former. There's a difference. So, but we have a parable in Benin language, or in Benin. Arokba wagafe be
say Mayeye. If only one person is wealthy in the family, we are all poor. Arobag and faith there who say Mayeye. That is what has propelled me. That how successful can I be when those around me continue to wallow in poverty, to be unsuccessful, to be unable, continue to be unable to access success. I cannot count myself as being successful. So this has propelled me to exit or leave my comfort zone, to try as much as possible to pull as many as possible out of the doldrums, as it were. So that is the motivating factor for me. We live in a country, as Mr. Roman Osegele mentioned, the center is shaking. Our situation is precarious. And so you can imagine what it is for the sub-nationals. Nigeria is underperforming. Edo is underperforming. Indeed, Mr. Osegele mentioned that our GDP has gone up. I don't know which numbers he's looking at. Edo GDP is actually shrinking faster than Nigeria's GDP. Faster than Nigeria's GDP. So, for me, I am concerned about the fact that the people are left with the short end of the stick, Prof. I want to return the people to the center of governance. The classic definition of democracy has people mentioned 3 times. It is no coincidence that all of this actually should be about the people. But what we find in Nigeria and in Edo State is that it is not about the people anymore. The people have been taken out of the equation. So therefore, Prof, my motivation is to return the people to the center of governance. And how do you know a government that is conscious about the position of the people? Is by looking at their programs and their policies. So Labour Party, the party I belong to, if you look at our logo, you don't have to look too far to know what we're about. We're about Papa, Mama, Pikin. So the litmus test must always be, how many people will benefit or will be impacted by our policies and our programs? That is what propels us. So in reviewing the state of play today, I am of the view that Edo needs recalibration. We need a reordering of our priorities so that we can focus on the people. This is the short version of my answer, Prof. So, because your question was why. So I want to limit myself to why, and I'm sure the microphone will come to me again. I hope that is fine. Thank you, Prof.
Excellent. We've had, given all the money you've made from corporate Nigeria, chairmanship positions we've occupied, some of them paid in dollars, some of them paid in pounds and in dollars. We have 2 states in Southeast doing very well. We have 2 states in South doing very well, and the same in North Central, Northwest, and Northeast. It means that Nigeria will start doing well. That is what we call cooperative competition. Not really, so you are cooperating to develop, not really you're just competing for power. But of course, we all know that for you to do that you need money, you need resources. And looking at what we are presented, the debt level is going up, population is increasing, growth is more or less almost below population growth. It means that poverty will keep going up. And that's why we have insecurity. So the question, let me come back to you, Mr. Lumide, is what will you do differently? And how will we heard that the present government of Governor Obaseki has moved the IGR of Edo State from our 18 billion to our 60-something billion, which is very, very commendable given the period. And we're asking and saying from Unuedo, I'm just reporting what Unuedo said, that they want Edo State to have IGR to move Edo State from its current 64 billion naira IGR to at least 150, 200 billion naira per annum. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. So, you know, thank you, Prof. So firstly, you know, I'm sure a number of people here were surprised to learn that with a combination of FARC and IGR, Edo earns close to 17 billion naira a month. And this has been sustained for close to 1 year at the minimum, at that level. And I'm sure many of you were shocked to learn that our debt profile has ballooned to close to 600 billion naira. And the fact that was not presented was that this administration, the current administration, contributed at least 400 billion, because what they met on ground was 100+ billion as debt. They contributed 400 billion. So, before we talk about what you will do with how you will increase, I think we must interrogate what you do with what you have. Because 17 billion, not be beans, not be corn, not be moi. I am concerned about priorities and how we utilize what we have. Aspirationally, yes, we're going to ensure that we increase the number. And I will be the first to commend those who superintended the catapulting of our IGR to where it is today. And as a government, we will ensure that we create an environment that allows for increased IGR. So, for example, government will participate actively in certain sectors to ensure that it earns income from those sectors. Electricity sector, for example. I will go into that shortly, but let me return to my initial theme. What do you do with what you have? Mr. You must appropriate what you have. I think it's critical, Prof, for us to interrogate that issue to what is vital. Remember, it's about the people. What will work for the people. So, with what we have today, there must be investment in critical infrastructure, because it is this critical infrastructure that will put you in the position to attract more revenue. Room of any economy are able to operate unhindered. So electricity, thankfully, either of us, if we become governor, Prof, I'm answering your question regarding how to increase IGR. And please follow, my theme is this, or my submission is this. You must put critical building blocks in place. So, if you look at Edo State today, what we will do is to ensure that you will bring in our consortium healthcare centers in Edo State. We intend to put in one healthcare center in every of the 192 wards. We don't have, because it's an issue of access. If you keep health away from the people, they don't have access. So we will have to bring healthcare closer to the people. So what that does, these are building blocks. Now, when you do that, you have an environment that allows for the investor. I hope you know that according to NBS statistics, NBS numbers, Edo has attracted zero foreign direct investment in the last 4 years. What are you doing with what you have to create that environment? What are you doing with what you have to create that environment that will bring about more investment? And to the point where it can begin to increase IGR, increase IGR These are the building blocks. These are the building blocks that we put in place to ensure that this is done. That we put in place to ensure that this is done. And until that is done, I think it will just be, as they say, pissing in the wind. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You've heard. We are going to, I will leave it up and mention the issue of building critical blocks that will help the state to move the IGR, to achieve. And also the importance of interrogating the resources. Already coming to investment. He also talked about in 1 year. Thank you.
1 year. An economist with less stay on the path of realism. Thank you very much for that question. I just wanted to correct something, and I think that was from Mr. Zayoli's presentation. I know from my research that Edo State debt is 282 billion, foreign 72 local. And I also know with the work I'm going to do, as I tell you, that debt revenue, what did you use the debt for? Did you use it for productive? Did you use it for productive infrastructure? The kind of infrastructure that earns revenue to enable you to pay your debt back. It's not that debt is bad in itself, it's what you use the debt for. So all those will be interrogated, but let me come back to my answer to your question. The biggest problem we have in Edo State is security. That's the #1 problem. And anybody that wants to deal with anything that concerns Edo State must focus on getting Edo security right, deal with that security. Let me give you just one example. Our guys in the diaspora, they don't come home on holiday anymore because everybody's afraid of being kidnapped. Now, if you get the security right, imagine our guys coming home twice a year, spending 2,000 revenue profile and productivity of the state, and we're better able to attract tax and increase our IGR. Also, by increasing security, we enhance tourism, working with extension workers, looking at our soil types across the state, and which is one other thing we are going to do. We're going to have 3 economic development agencies in the 3 senatorial power. There are those who say there are no new investments in Edo State. I don't agree. I see them. If you go to Ipobaha, go to Oloko, if you go to Orion, you see those investments. We have the modular refinery, that of the economy, and I've just told you easy, quick ways. Go back to agriculture, focus on palm. And if you run through the state, northern part of Edo State, cashew, and immediately, but it's truly achievable in the state. What I think the state requires is leadership that's focused, that understands economic issues, that understands how to be productive and how to create.
We have to intensify our prayers that one of them will emerge as the governor of Edo State. But let me take it to Olumide again.
Prof, can I interrupt?
I'm coming to you now.
I just want to say something so we don't miss the point.
Okay.
So I also like conversational. I just wanted to say that I agree with Roman II.
Yes.
And that is not just agreeing in a vacuum.
Investments in Edo State, and they were saying, how are we going to safeguard it? So, I don't know what MPS is giving us. The same MPS that tells
State to see what we have as the case may be. But let me come to issue of.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Prof. So, just for the record, I would rather stick with MPS numbers and figures. That there's a certain neutrality that I think comes from that. I'll move on, Prof.
Yeah, please.
I'll move on, Prof. What is on ground? The governor of the state is chief security officer in name only. Sometimes it might be choosing good money to chase after bad. But it's a reality. Every state governor must work closely with the existing security architecture So for us in the Labour Party, what we will provide good roads, it reduces the incidence of kidnapping. You provide revolution in that sector because of the multiple effects it will have. We can bring, because of the multiple effects it will have, we can bring back our own forest rangers as you had before in Western Nigeria. Move our rangers as you had before in Western Nigeria. Move our resources to that state police, because if the Inspector General gives a signal today and says move all the equipment in Benin, including the one that the state governor provided, move it to Bayelsa, there's really not much you can do. But I am quite dissatisfied with the fact that
power you, supposing you succeed to be
real regional would like to security would like to security. We must devolve to the states.
You know, use vigilante for them. And the same way we've been able to get them to help with policing at the community and local level. It's fundamental. You know, more importantly, the relationships between the state and the federal, no matter how the politics is, when we come down to the issue of the welfare and the livelihood of the people, we then must kind of dumb down on that and get ourselves working well for the betterment of the people of our state. That's fundamental, you know, and we will work on those tracks. In Edo State, I see that Edo State has invested substantially in having what they call a major situation room. And I've visited that situation room. When you enter that situation room, you can more or less see the whole of Benin. And that has enhanced and improved the security situation, because from that situation room, they then tell the policemen where things happen or where things have been expected to have changed. You know, so we must have constitutional preservative provisions that ensure that the state police doesn't overreach itself and the state police can be effectively controlled.
Lip service. That's what I would do different. I will not pay lip service, and I will not bandy numbers that don't actually add up, you know, on the ground. Education is so critical. I went to school in what was Bendel State. I have never schooled outside Nigeria. I was trained by my country, and I think I can stand shoulder to shoulder with any lawyer, any educated individual in the world, and hold my own. And I think that should be the lot of any Edo Pikin, any experiential context. So I've been around, and I forgot to mention, please forgive me, our deputy governor candidate of the Labour Party is here. Permit me to introduce Alhaji Yusuf Asama Kadiri, senior advocate of Nigeria. Forgive me, as an omission on my part. We have gone around Edo State, and what have we found? Firstly, as far as education is concerned, we must fix education at the primary school level. The good book says if the foundation is faulty, what shall the righteous do? That level is so important. Number one, brick and mortar issues. The environment for learning is as important as the learning itself. And we hear stories of Edo Best. I say they remain stories as far as I'm concerned. Because having gone around the state, all three senatorial zones, what have I found? School infrastructure is decrepit. So Labour Party will move in and fix infrastructure, brick and mortar issues. I personally had to go and fix a school in Esan Southeast, in a town called Ewato, close to Ubiaja, because we all saw the video that went viral with children lying down on the bare floor to take their notes in classes. That cannot be best. So, infrastructure is critical. And UNESCO has its prescriptions regarding how much of your budget should be ascribed to education. We must strive to attain that, because that is the best investment ever. Investment in your greatest asset, your human resource. So, we will fix infrastructure across the state. Second point, again, contrary to the facts and figures being bandied by the state, teacher recruitment is abysmal. So most of the communities I have visited, from Osara to Irekme to Ekoma, you find out that the communities are having to hire teachers themselves for their schools because their teachers are not being sent to the schools. So that kind of haphazard recruitment process, you can imagine what the outcome is. Come, which school you go? Come and teach the children. What did you study? Maths, teach them English. What kind of teachers are we finding in the schools? That is the reality in Edo State today. We will organize the recruitment process and make sure that we have teachers in our schools. Not just in Benin City or in Aochi, but also in Urunikwe, but also in Okwela. And I have been to all of these places. Now, the next issue is teacher training. College of Education in Igwebe has been shut down. The teacher training colleges that were all over the place, I can't seem to find them. What are the teachers being taught before they themselves can become teachers? Teacher remuneration. You pay peanuts, you get monkeys. You need to pay them well. That we will do. And then finally, curriculum. What are the children being taught? Any child who is not taught technology in today's world is functionally illiterate, in my own estimation. I have investigated, I have interrogated what is being taught in our schools to our children. We have a crisis on our hands. So we will take care of education from all of those perspectives. Now, you would ask me, where's the money going to come from? Well, first and foremost, I think our income profile is enough to deal with education as a very high priority issue. Critical. Now, the next thing is that I was General Secretary of the King's College Women Boys Association. You have those group of stakeholders, faith-based organizations, community, our diaspora community, who will work with government, alumni groups, who will work with government to make sure that each of these schools are properly managed, sorted out. That is what we are going to do. That is for education. And you now move from the primary, same thing applies to the secondary school level in Edo State. And we are going to apply the same measures. As far as tertiary is concerned, you know, I wept in Ekoma when I saw what had become of our university, the Angusali University. It's tragic. That's the only word I can use to describe it. A school that had become iconic. So we would have to, because a lot of our children go to that school for university education. But you have teachers who haven't been paid for close to 30 months. 3-0. I went to Ekoma, I was at a club where I had to pitch in because they were putting together a fund for teachers who have not been paid. Faculties have lost accreditation. Meanwhile, another university was set up somewhere else in the state. Essentially cutting out, as far as I'm concerned, this existing university named after our father, Ambrose Ali. So we would have to deal across that whole chain with education because our human resources are our greatest asset. And for Edo, with a chalkbook, standard, with a chalkbook. But what has happened now is that children have come to believe that school is scam. And and really, they are being scammed. You understand when you say, I don't want to go into those issues. Now, I don't know, you talked about health. Quickly, about health. I think I touched on health before.
Yes.
I am the child of a doctor. I am the beneficiary of very good medical systems elsewhere. That should be the lot of the Edo people. At the primary healthcare level, the doctors have told us that most of the ailments that afflict our people is at that level. And you must allow for access. Our plan is to set up 192 primary healthcare centers, one in each ward of the state. Properly built, equipped. We're going to get doctors from the NYSC, we're going to get doctors from the diaspora using telemedicine. Doctors in the diaspora want to help out. You can use telemedicine for consultation to deal with basic issues. And then you must establish properly the hub and spoke model. You must have clusters of primary healthcare centers referring cases to a secondary establishment within that catchment area. It doesn't exist right now. It does not exist right now. The hospital on Sapler Road that we saw and thought that it was meant for the people was actually is a private clinic, essentially. So that is what we intend to do in health.
Thank you very much. Let me come back to you, Mr. Gadalo. As we all agree, education is central to the development of every society, and that includes both vocational and other types of education. In primary, secondary school, STEM is very important. That is science, technology, engineering, and all that. What will you do in education and health if you become the governor of Edo State?
Thank you very much, Prof. Again, I'd like to reiterate, like you have and like Unuedo has, that education is fundamental. And we really, if we want to move into the next level, and want to move our state into the first world, we really must take education and health extremely seriously. Looking at the numbers, I know that in the last 6-7 years, there's been a major improvement in education in Edo State, particularly at the primary school level. I remember about 2015, maybe that's what Unuedo was referring to when he talked about SCAM. Edo was known for what they call mirror school. At that time, it was probably one of the worst states for educational malpractices. Our primary schools were not very good. But I know in the last few years that has changed. I'm from a state that was probably 28th or 29th on the ladder, educational ladder. I think it's number 2 today, primary school education. I know a lot of investment has gone into the Edo Best program. That is teaching, training teachers, providing tablets and equipment, reviewing the curriculum. So I think there's been a massive improvement in our educational standards, particularly at the primary school level. But there's still so much more to be done, so much more. Unuedo talked about physical infrastructure. Again, if a state earns only 17 billion a month, you back out pensions, you back out salaries, you're left with about 7 billion, 6 billion. There's a limitation to the infrastructural investments you can make, and you have to prioritize. But having said that, I think we need to find the money, particularly for infrastructure that has to do with education and health. So as we improve the curriculum and what people learn, as we train our teachers and make them very fit for purpose, where you learn must also be improved, and we must do something about the physical infrastructure. That's fundamental, and we must find the money to do it, wherever we're finding the money from. One of the things that affects our education, and it affects health too, is the fact that particularly our health workers, we're competing globally. And if I dumb it down a bit to education, you'll find that most of our teachers don't want to stay in the rural communities for reasons of underdevelopment and things. You know, I was talking to a teacher the other day and she said because her kids couldn't find good primary schools to go to or good kindergarten schools to go to, she really didn't like staying in the village and things like that. So areas develop. So we'll work on curriculum, we'll work on infrastructure, we'll make sure that our kids are fit for purpose. And as we're creating an enabling environment, we also must be ready on the vocational. Because, you know, people must be fit for purpose to be able to do the work that the investing companies want them to do. If not, the environment is not going to be attractive. People will go where they should go or where they can go to get the kind of labor that will make the investments work. So fundamentally, we're going to deal with education from the primary, through the secondary, and through the tertiary. And let me go back to this issue of diaspora, school adoption, alumni. One of the policies I think we'll engage is, number one, returning schools to those private sector former owners who have there's a mixture. There's a mixture of the Catholics and the old boys. They've upgraded and uplifted that school tremendously. In the diaspora, talking to guys in the diaspora, I've talked to a number of you guys. Will you adopt schools? For instance, my family, we adopted a number of primary schools around Edo State. So will you adopt schools? Once you can keep schools to those standards that are prescribed, you guys in the diaspora, will you adopt schools? And there are conversations that are ongoing. So by that way, we raise the standard and we ensure that we are fit for purpose, we have teachers that are well trained, that are well paid, and that can effectively train our children. Health. You keep talking quickly when it comes to health. It's as important as education. Health. You know, the government today has this health insurance scheme. Somebody must pay for health. If the individual doesn't pay, the government must pay, or an insurance scheme must pay. We need to improve that insurance scheme so that it covers everybody. The most vulnerable in itself. You know, so we're thinking through how we're going to be able to compete globally, how we're going to be able to keep our staffing, how we're going to be able to build hospitals that can cater for the needs of our people. I know there are primary healthcare centers that have already been developed in every ward in the state. I think the state has gone as far as education, and we must enhance health. You know, if our people are not healthy, the output levels will be significantly reduced. And we must improve our output levels if we want to create a state of our dreams.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Prof. I just wanted to mention
1 minute, please. 1 minute, please. Moderator, with your permission. And I think my voice may be loud enough. So, we want to crave indulgence. First of all, if we think the candidates are doing good, please give them a fantastic round of applause. To manage time, you know your time is very precious, so we want to manage this time very properly. So, moderator, want to do a few, all right? So, we have the, this exercise was meant for the 3 leading candidates. But recently, we have the ADC candidate in the House, in the person of Engineer Derek Izedome. All right? And 5 minutes, please, to just present your scorecard or what you have requested. And thereafter, we'll go into the Q&A sessions. The Q&A sessions, Mr. Moderator, please, we want to prevent to limit it to the representatives of the groups invitees here. For example, the alumni associations or the social cultural associations, so that we don't have questions.
We must move our people, and that is what we want to do, away from that fixation on paper qualification. We must move our people. I went to Technical College in Ohoro in Benin. Everybody knows that school. It literally doesn't exist anymore.
We need to revive it.
Yes, we need to revive, and that is what Labour Party will do when we assume office.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Can we all? Because of time, can we invite the candidates of ADC? Can we give them a round of applause, please? To make his presentation. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I want to say a big thank you to Unuedo Organizing Committee for your graciousness for me to stand here. I do appreciate you. I know this room is filled up with the intelligentsia of Edo State, and I'm proud to be in your company. I am Osai Derek Izedome, son of teachers, proud citizen of Edo State, passionate about development of my state, the horse in this race. About 15 years, rose up the ranks to become a director, seconded to Nigeria to support the management team, and then I became the managing director a year after. I led that business for 4 years. But I was always disturbed. Anytime I go to Edo State, Benin City, like many of us here, I am worried. I grew up in the Ambrosali days. I grew up partly also. I planned for Edo State. And I know this is an improbable journey. Some have laughed and said, look, why are you in this race? Who is this young man with black beards trying to be a governor of Edo State? Listen guys, I've prepared for this. I've worked 15 years of my life preparing for this. And when the time comes, when you hear me out, you understand that I'm ready for this job. Now we have a plan, and our manifesto will be released in a couple of weeks. And the plan is our RAISE agenda. What does that mean? It's R for rural revitalization. Part of it my senior brother talked about, but he didn't go into details. That's for R. A is for agriculture. 1 or 2 minutes to go. In one of the analysis we've done, instead of clearing 70 acres and giving it to 6 companies to farm palm oil, and this money is flying out of Edo State ever so often, the wealth is not locked down in Edo State. Give you a classic example, just a simple arithmetic, what we've done. If I give 500 women in Oriomo today, 500 women, I give them 10 goats, Nigerian dwarf goats, which produces 2 kids, as they call them, every 4 to 5 months. In a year, 1 goat will produce me 4 goats. Are you following my logic? Now, the 500 goats times 4 goats times 4 goats is how many? You can see the number is 20,000 goats. 20,000 goats at market price times 50,000 naira is 1 billion naira from one local government. Times that by 18. What I'm trying to say is that this wealth begins to trickle down to the very people who need the wealth, not being hung up by the, what I call predatory government, or people who sit up there and just live on those resources. When this wealth trickles down to the grassroots, to the women, to the rural dwellers, you begin to see they go to the market, because they are now economically empowered to spend the money in the economy. And that has a multiplier effect, which then brings funds for them to go into what I call proto-industrialization, to do small nail factory, sandals, basic manufacturing. So my goal is clear, to take Edo State, starting from the rural areas, to stop people from leaving the rural areas and coming to the cities. So an Imade who is in Oriomo, comes to Benin and becomes a house girl. Look at the math, you pay her 40,000 naira a month. It's not even enough to clear the waste that Imade produces in your house. So she's not being utilized, she's been misutilized. But if I give Imade the opportunity in Oriomo and empower her, easily she can make 1 million a month or more. And that 1 million a month, if you multiply it by thousands, it begins to triple, if not quadruple our GDP. I have a plan.
But let's get the questions because of time, so that we can, okay, it's already back. So we take a few questions and we'll come back to the candidates and they respond. And then maybe if time permits, we'll now take another set of questions and we'll now start using it to round up. So please, if you okay, because of time, what we're going to do is to take the questions from the alumni associations. So if you are one of the member of the alumni association, please. Okay.
ACC, ICC, Maragara Teja College, any of the alumni association. Western Boys High School. Okay, that's fine. Western Boys.
Let me also indicate, if you want any of the candidates to answer the question, please you can specify to say you want this to be answered by Olumide or by as well as the case may be. Thank you. And please, let the question be very direct and very brief because of time, please. Thank you. Just one question.
All right. Let me write down. According to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, Edo State has attracted over 1.2 billion in foreign investment in recent years, confirming its reputation as a viable investment destination that offers wealth of opportunities for investors looking to establish a foothold in Nigeria. I just felt I should make that comment in the first instance.
Thank you very much for your research.
Thank you so much. Then for my question, it is very simple, and I want to any of the candidates to, because there have been arguments here as to improving the educational sector in Edo State. That's my primary focus now, because we need to really get it right as far as education in the state is concerned. The idea of state not having teachers in the state is worrisome. And I know that attempts
Square and the Unuedo Square and the Abata Square of Council. Now, there's some worrisome development in Nigeria which we are not thinking about. The basic problem, particularly in this country, the root of it all is accountability. That is the basic problem. How do public officials get their hands into this humongous amount of government money? How do they get it? You just get 80 billion, 100 billion, so much money being spent, no accountability. We need the candidates to answer that question. The second question is the issue of information.
One question, please.
No, I just want to round it up. They will answer the please. Just please. The second question that is very serious in Edo State, very serious, is misinformation. At present, the government of Edo State appears not to have been able to deal with misinformation and false information. It's a very serious problem. And that is within the state very tragically so. The last one is about the issue of scarce resources. How do you intend to distribute the resources? We talked about planting resources all over the place. Do you want to continue to seek the Benin to distribute all these plants you have? Or how do you want to do it? Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We will have a question from the Immaculate Conception College Old Boys Association.
Thank you very much. I plead to stand on existing protocols. My name is Edwin Obasogie. A serious candidate the opportunity to sell himself, unless of course whoever the person thinks that our votes don't count. The votes of the many people. And so my question to the two candidates that are up there on the stage is, what will your party do to protect the votes of the electorate? Because you cannot sit up there, speak all this good English, and word on the street, you can call it beer parlor gist, is that some people are relying on the federal might come when the elections happen. So what are you planning to do? What are your strategies to ensure that when people vote, the votes will count? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And the next question will come from the National President of Western Boys High School. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Engineer Desmond Ojiaisi. I'm the National President of Western Boys High School. The greatest asset of any nation is the human capital. I want the two candidates to please tell us how they are going to build a new economy beyond oil and fat, using blue ocean strategy and building a new competitive advantage. That's one. Two, as the National President of Western Boys for the past 6 years, we have been trying to take the school away from government so that we can use our own resources to renovate the school, and all that. That has not happened. Finally, everyone here seated, I'm talking of the candidates, you are eminently qualified. But your credentials mean nothing if you cannot keep your greed and the greed of your associates at bay. how are you going to do that? Because we are saddled with inept government now in Nigeria because a lot of people have brought their greed to the fore. How are you going to keep your greed and the greed of your associates at bay? Because greed compromises everything. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I think it might be better for us to, and one last question from the chair of Southeast House of Professionals, Mr. Beku Boji. Briefly, please. Just one last question, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Electoral Boji, Chairman Board of Trustees, Southeast House of Professionals. Yeah, it's more of a commercial question. I wanted to find out from the two candidates if they have heard about Development Agenda Southeast South 2035, and if they have, how will they fit in their program within this development agenda? Because we believe that Edo State will do much better if their development plans factors in a wider population, which is the Southeast South, than just only sticking to Edo State. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ugoji. Let me just, for better answers to this question, let me just reiterate the questions. One from Mr. Hannibal Waifo is, how do we improve accountability in Edo State? How do you manage misinformation? And how will you ensure effective distribution of scarce resources? Before we started this discussion, somebody mentioned that the oldest or the biggest local government in Edo State, I think that's the Akoko Edo. They have only one hospital. There's no development there as the case may be. And the reason being that they believe that none of them has had the opportunity to be in government or to control the state. So it's a very important question with regards to how do you distribute the resources. And then another question specifically to you, Mr. Godano, is what will you do to protect your votes, which I think applies also to Olumide. And then another question is, how will you use Blue Ocean strategy to build a new Edo State? And the last question from Emeka is, how do you integrate or align Edo State development to the development agenda 2035? Thank you. You can answer for many of the questions, Mr. Godano. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Accountability, I agree with you fully, so accountability is, or lack of accountability has been the bane of many governments in this country. And we find ourselves where we are because people are not accountable. I agree, too much greed, too much corruption, no love of the people. But you know, funnily enough, our rules, civil service rules, public service rules, our laws have provisions for ensuring, sustaining, and enhancing accountability. We're even overruled and overlawed in this country. The problem is that people don't follow all of the rules and provisions of these rules, and there's no consequence management. So everybody in this country gets away with blue murder. If you're the leader at the top, you must show good example. You must show good example. You must stand for what is true, what is right, and what is just. And you must ensure that the sanctions, accordance with the provisions of the law, are well adhered to. For me, all I can say is that all through my life, I've tried to stay on the straight and narrow. All through my life, I've tried to be accountable to the systems I've run, and it's not going to be different in Edo State. If you are the top, chest out, and the people that are around you and work with you know that you have zero tolerance for the things that are not proper, not right, then I think, and you stay with the systems, I think you will be fine. I think so. And I'm quite confident that, like fish, you know, it all starts getting rotten from the head. You know, and if the head stays strong and stays firm, you will be fine. Issue of misinformation, I think this present government in Edo State hasn't done very well with communication and information. I think it's better because if the correct information is out there, then falsehood is limited, and the ability for falsehood to be propagated gets diminished. So I think in government, we'll give out as much information. We'll be open. We must be open. We must be accessible to the people, and we'll give out as much information as is necessary. Accessibility to the people is key. Yes, scarce resources. I talked about the revenue generation in the state. You must prioritize, but the most important thing is for us to really build on our revenue so that we're able to do many more things in infrastructure, soft and hard infrastructure for our people. So that's going to be our focus. We must enhance our revenue. Like somebody talked about building a bigger pie. I always talk about building a massive cake instead of everybody wanting to share a cupcake. So where you prioritize, you must then prioritize on those infrastructural bills that affect positively the life of the majority of the people. You must always do that. If you do that, you seldom go wrong. But we must enhance our resources so we can spread out. I think it's Dr. Obasoge, Edwin Obasoge. Party, how do you protect your vote? I know that's part of what has worried a lot of our citizens, and there's this lethargy about stepping out to vote, because people have this feeling that, you know, we go out to vote, what we vote doesn't reflect, our votes don't count. It's a tough one, but I think it has to be a lot of people pressure, and there has to be a lot of people, you know, we have to really, really focus. I tell people all the time that we pay attention to what's happening at the polling booths, at the polling units. Votes are counted, you hang around. Votes are collated, you hang around. You have your figures. You move your figures, and you're able to compare your figures to what's going on the IREV, and people start shouting very early. One of the things I know is that if you have good polling agents in your party, then it's really difficult for people to manipulate results at the polling booth. So you need to train your polling agents well. You need to make sure that they're on top of their game, they know what to do, and they're paying attention to what is happening, and then people start shouting very early if there's manipulation. But I think that if the people pay attention and we don't resign ourselves to accepting whatever is thrown at us, and people are ready to put their foot down and citizens' challenges are enhanced, I think there will be substantial improvement in what we see in that direction. And I think it's key that we as Nigerians should stop just accepting anything. You know, that's been the problem. I don't know how many countries in the world you have the level of inflation that you have, and the people wouldn't have resisted long ago. The protest in the last 1 week, you know, we all have a constitutional right to protest. It's very welcome, because people that govern us must know that things are not right, and they must accept that things are not right, and they must commit themselves to doing much better than they're doing for the people of this country. Economy, we can spend the whole day talking about a new economy for Edo State, but I think that we have the resources. We have the Edo Central. You find out that we produce probably the best fruits in West Africa from those parts. MOEs, pineapple, through that belt. So what are we doing about fruit processing factories? So the capability for manufacturing is so high. And then we haven't talked about our mineral resources in Edo North. So, you know, and then, you know, the APC candidate was talking about the marine economy. Most people don't know that from Ilushi to Agenebode, the River Niger runs beside Edo State. So we can develop a whole new marine economy there, you know, that's working hard, that knows what to do for its people. Edo State can achieve same in the same period of time. We have constitutional restrictions, but we have ways, and we know ways where we can go by these constitutional restrictions. States in Australia, states in India have been able to have sub-nationals that have far outstripped the national, and we can do the same in Nigeria. There was greed at bay.
So they die and the money gets lost in the diaspora. So I agree with you, sir. The greed level is too high. That's why we're seeing the levels of corruption we see. Emeka, yes, I know about the 2035 agenda, like in the brace and in contiguous states. We need to kind of find a way to work well together, fit into the agenda. One of the things I noticed is there's some, and I'm choosing my words very carefully, I don't know whether it's an ego level that's very high, but I find that chief executives of states are not working as well together as they could and as they should. So there's duplication. Even where they want to provide the infrastructure, there's duplication. If we're going to build rail, not just the brace states, but we have to find a way in which we can build rail also with the states in the east and the states in the southwest, and then move it up to north central. That's how a rail facility will be functional, and that's how a rail facility will make good sense from a financial perspective. So we have to key in, and we have to have regional development at a very high level. And one of the things we must do is get governors to work well together. You know, I spoke earlier about peer pressure, competitive peer pressure, peer competition. That's how I see this country growing. And I welcome what the Southeast governors are doing. I think the brace, we have Ambassador Keshi here, also have a plan they're developing, if the plan is not yet already developed. And so we will have to collaborate a lot more so that we can have sustainable development right across the country, but in these contiguous states. I think I have touched. Okay, there was a question on school takeover. I agree with you, and I mentioned that, you know, I think that ACC had, they had something with the state government, whereby the state government had allowed alumni to renovate and rework the school. And I think the state government welcomes support from alumni and from any party that wants to help with developing and refurbishing and rehabilitating schools. And I think for me, I said so before, it's something that I'm going to encourage. And I think that it's something that will help the development of our education. There's no doubt about it. I think I've touched on.
Yes, you have. You have, and you've done excellently. So let me return to Rumi. I'm sure you heard the questions, but I just want to add something that they just sent to me now. That Mr. Godolo affirmed that if he becomes the governor of Unuedo State, he's going to return schools to the original owners. And they asked him,
the original owners
that have the capacity to run these schools efficiently. So the question to you is, are you thinking in the same direction? And what will be your set out criteria?
You should be afforded the opportunity. So let me cut it. That is my persuasion. And we saw, I don't know if you know what has happened to St. Gregory's College here in Lagos. It's a transformation. Just returning St. Gregory's College to the Catholic Church and the Old Boys Association. Our difficulty with the King's College is because it's a federal school. So Government College Umuahia, right, has been handed back to the Old Boys Association. It's a to those. And then, of course, capacity is critical. But I am of that persuasion because I think it's important. So, essentially, we would have answered the question that was asked by... I was born in 1972. I'm not part of them. My brother... you know, like I've said...
the chairman of Brace Commission, Ambassador Joe Keshi, to say a few words. Ambassador Keshi, please.
A very good afternoon to the candidates and to all gathered here this afternoon. First, my thanks goes to the organizers for inviting us, and I also want to thank the global. You did not allow me to finish. You are lucky to the extent that you heard them today. But you'll be luckier if you hold them accountable when they become governor. The problem is that we've not been holding our leaders accountable, and they've treated us the way they want to treat us and do whatever they want to do. But from the Place Commission, I assure you that any of you that becomes the governor, we look forward to working with you. Because the problem we've had is the political will. The political will. Everything that has been mentioned here today is it education. From day one, when I was born and raised in Ibadan, grew up Lagos and Ibadan. So when I finished and I was brought into this business, my first reaction was that I knew nothing about the states. But I thank God today because it has enabled me to understand Nigeria very well. We talked about education. From day one, when we taught the South states, we just found out that we do not have teachers for our schools, period. We kept, and today we say, keep telling our governors, we need to begin to train teachers, especially for the primary school level. Is it agriculture? We came up with an agricultural plan to say, in the 60s, this was what we were doing. So let's go back and grow palm oil, oil palm, and then take any other tool, comparatively from each state. It was approved by the governors, not executed at the state level. But talking of agriculture, sir, when you fly into Southern Africa, name any country there, apart from Zimbabwe that has gone under the weather. You go around our states, what do you hear the people say, sir? They say we're a civil servant state, meaning we all depend on government. When you become governor, or the day you become governor, you will see how much you are paying in terms of salaries. The bill is high because everybody believes that it's a civil servant state. If you can win people away from that belief and become an industrialized state, you would have done well for a new state. So I wish you all the best of luck. Again, I reiterate what you have said, that whoever becomes governor, be rest assured that we are ready to work with you. And we need a new generation of thinkers, knowledgeable people, because that's exactly what also is affecting the leadership process. People who understand how to reorder society. Leaders who are compassionate, who will listen to the people and do exactly what the people requires of them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Ambassador Keshi. I'm sure we know that Ambassador spoke in some way very diplomatic. So he said that this is the best session he has had since 1999. And that means that his moderation has been the best since 1999. Say a very, very big thank you to Mr. Lumide Apata, Mr. Asue Godalo, Unuedo, and all other important personalities and all the participants at this. So we say a very, very big thank you to all of you. And as I said before, the discussion continues. So now it's time for us to have some group photographs. I think so. Thank you.
Ancient city is calling, oh arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching, stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the Unuedo nation will forever be upright. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are speaking over you. You're the dream to be. Our treasures are found in our nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written. Our kings have endured all times. A people cultured in unity. Our hearts beat for the land. Rich culture, stories of heroes, legacies forever be. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land of the dream to be. Unite and stand with each other. Therein lies a future great. Together we can stand, come what may. Edo future lies in us. Teach our children to teach their children what our fathers taught. To love and fear the Creator. Only then shall we be great. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land of the dream to be.
Take your list down.